All things DIY at Fleet Farm. Home of the best prices, guaranteed.
I got serious about staying fit just a couple of years ago. Now 5Ks, yoga, and smart nutrition are all part of my weekly routine. Part of my eating right plan? Country Hearth Breads. Natural breads with the whole grains and natural ingredients my body needs to perform at its best. Just a slice of toasted multigrain with peanut butter before a workout, and I'm ready to roll. Country Hearth is the easy choice because it's good for me and great tasting too. Country Hearth Breads, baking our best for you.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City. You need to know.
The Philadelphia Eagles are promoting passing game coordinator and associate head coach Kevin Patullo to be their new offensive coordinator. The Chargers are headed to Brazil. They've been selected as the NFL's designated team for the second ever regular season game in Sao Paulo as part of the 2025 international games. The league also informed the teams today that the 2025 salary cap will increase by at least $22 million. In the NBA, the Lakers will be taking on the Hornets at home with tip-off at 10 Eastern. This NBA match was rescheduled due to the January wildfires in LA. JJ Redick, head coach of the Lakers, says that he expects Luka Doncic won't have a minutes restriction moving forward. LeBron James is still listed as questionable because of that ankle injury, and Mark Williams of the Hornets has apparently rejoined the team, and he is probable to play. I'm Monty Bolaños.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in on a Wednesday. It's still cold across South Dakota. This just in. We're still cold across South Dakota, but it's always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. The Nate Brown Show is back. Fox Sports Radio, thanks for being here. South Dakota Sports Talk Show ready to go. Thought-provoking sports talk, 2 hours on your afternoon drive. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you want to watch us live as well. At Nate Brown Show right now. We're live. Welcome in studio. At Nate Brown Show on Twitter. And one more place, YouTube channel. Subscribe if you want to see the show live. And the archive shows, they're all there. The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on a Wednesday. I love the guest lineup tonight. Local, regional, national. We got you covered across the board. If you miss any parts of the show, a reminder, the Nate Brown Show podcast always available, so you can download it on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. If you missed some of the guests from yesterday, earlier this week, we had Coach Hendo on from SDSU. Coming up later on, we're going to get Coach AJ. What a season for him again, and the SDSU women. So if you missed parts of the show at all, the Nate Brown Show podcast, just search The Nate Brown Show, and you've got the podcast there wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get going on the live show tonight and get popping. Let's look at the Forever Lawn guest lineup, brought to you by Forever Lawn of South Dakota, the best lineup of artificial grass, no doubt, and the best specialty stuff. Canine grass for the dogs is outstanding. Golf greens for your backyard. Landscape grass, maintenance-free. You put it in, you're good to go. You can enjoy your weekend in the summer. You don't have to take care of the entire lawn. Check it out. Google Foreverlawn in South Dakota. Foreverlawn, ready to install across the entire state. Both sides, just Google Foreverlawn in South Dakota. The Foreverlawn guest lineup on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Mike McFeely drops by from Colder, North Dakota. We think it's cold. Mike McFeely drops by. Inforum.com. Columnist, and we'll talk NDSU, SDSU tonight, Summit League hoops, and more. Mike McFeely coming up. Inforum.com talking Bison Jacks going at it tonight in men's basketball. Thor Nystrom's in, NFL draft analyst, college football analyst, fantasy life from the Twin Cities. We want Thor on. He just put out his top 18 quarterbacks for this year's NFL draft. Why'd you stop at 18, Thor? What are we doing? Top 18? We're going to have 18 QBs on the board. Thor Nystrom's in. Let's get his read on the best college quarterback to get drafted. I want to know who he's taking number one. Okay, Thor Nystrom's in. Mike Golick Jr. is on as well. National great guest. Mike Golick Jr., his show's Gojo and Golick on DraftKings. He'll break down college football and more. And our old friend Brian Henson tonight. You know that name. You didn't forget about Brian. Brian Henson, former Argus leader, sports writer, now high school sports writer at Indianapolis, covering high school sports for the Indy Star. He's got a couple of things going on in Indiana, and I want to talk to him about this high school scene, and he's getting in an argument about, he said, we need to do this in Indiana. South Dakota's done it. He loves it. And now that he's left South Dakota, he's trying to get Indiana to change what they need to do in high school sports in Indiana. So we get Brian Henson on tonight, preps writer for the Indy Star tonight. Packed show on a Wednesday across the board, from hoops to football and everything in between. Let's get you on if you want to be a part of the conversation tonight. 605-720-1067. You know that. Studio line, Pizza Ranch hotline, 605-720-1067. Barron's Wilson text line open and ready. Text the show at 605-720-1067. Those come right in here. We'll make your text a part of the program as well. All right. Let's start with this. So we're talking about this time of year where the legislatures do all their work. We've talked about South Dakota legislative session and some of the sports factors in there. If you've been listening to the show, we've been trying to stay on this from the cashless bill to SDPB funding and all of that stuff. So I'm going to go to this, and then I'm going to tie it back to South Dakota. How would this fly in South Dakota? I just wonder what the pulse of this state, you sports fans out there and voters and the whole thing, what would this look like in South Dakota? So here's what just came out. I just saw the story. I thought it was really interesting last night. So I'm going to lead the show with this and see, would this ever happen in South Dakota? Would our citizens want this? So there's a bill in New Mexico. I'm going to go to New Mexico. They've got two major universities there, kind of like our system. They got New Mexico, the Lobos, and then they got New Mexico State, the Aggies. Okay? So you got New Mexico and New Mexico State. USD, SDSU, okay? So just follow me here. There's a bill in New Mexico this week that just came out of their education committee. And essentially what this bill is saying, the college athletic landscape is changing so much. You better keep up with the Joneses. You better keep money flowing. If you want to be the real deal, like they're saying, hey, if the Lobos want to stay in this race, like we're behind. So if you want to make New Mexico a factor, we got to start doing something. And so the legislative session, out of the Education Committee, there's a new bill where they would this week allocate $2.5 million to New Mexico and New Mexico State just for athletics specifically. So if I can throw this out, this is an athletic supplement. This is on top of just funding the universities. Of course, state universities are funded by the state taxpayers. I mean, that's how this works. But the athletic side of this, that's usually decided within house on campus. So here's the university budget, and here's your athletic budget. Make it work. Have fun. This bill in New Mexico, what they're trying to say is, New Mexico college sports, New Mexico State and New Mexico Lobos, we got to pick it up. And we're going to use the legislature to think about, is this a return on investment? So they're talking in the millions range. So $2.5 million for the Lobos, $2.5 million for New Mexico State. That's hopes of supporting true attendance costs for all student athletes, services, training, team travel, bells and whistles. This isn't like buildings and some of that which you throw in extra, okay, like facilities. It's not that. This is enhancing the athletic department, using the $2.5 million to crank it up a little bit, make the experience better for the student athletes at New Mexico and New Mexico State, and with the intention, we're going to get better players here, we're going to retain players here, we're going to grow the Lobos and the Aggies, and we're going to stay in this hunt. $2.5 million is not going to be the end-all, be-all, I'm thinking, for those budgets, but a nice little hit, an additional funding source, $2.5 million each. This hasn't been passed all the way through, but it is sponsored. It got out of the Education Committee. That was the first test. And so it's the extra cash that the state universities, they're never going to turn that down. The Lobos and Aggies, they're saying, hey, we could get extra money from the legislature. Is this something that is going to kind of ramp us up a little bit? And so I thought, New Mexico is taking this forward. I don't know if it'll pass. We'll keep an eye on it. What they're trying to say is, what do we do in this new era of college athletics? Money is king, and we got to throw more money towards our college athletic programs. So then I'm spinning it back to South Dakota today. As I was thinking about it last night, I saw the story, I read through it. Is this a good idea? Is this something that would play out at all? Let's just throw it back here to our legislative session in Pierre. Let's say a bill. I mean, you can come up with a bill for anything. We've seen that. So you could come up with a bill and say, we're going to go, let's just ramp it down a little bit. $1 million to SDSU, $1 million to USD, specifically for athletics. Specifically. Now, some people have said the New Mexico side of this, they should have stuck this in the NIL portion. If you really want to make an impact, you should have said, hey, we're going to give New Mexico State $2.5 million, New Mexico $2.5 million, NIL money only, and earmark it for that. They took that out. They were thinking about doing that at the New Mexico legislative session. They took it out. They're just strictly saying, no, this is for athletics. It's got to go to the athletes, but in certain ways, not NIL. So argue about that if you want. This day and age, the NIL is king. We'll see how this plays out as it moves forward. Will New Mexico funnel in $5 million and split that up between the Lobos and Aggies? I guess we'll see. My question of the day on the Nate Brown Show tonight, how would that play out in South Dakota if a bill was ever introduced? Just to say a bill comes up in Pierre, we're college sports fans, it's a Jackrabbit alum, and they say, let's crank things up here a little bit. We got to crank things up. We spend a lot of money on a lot of stuff. How about we make an investment and crank up the Jacks a little bit and crank up the Yotes a little bit? $1 million each. Let's just say that. Would you support setting aside additional money to specifically support SDSU and USD? Because my big question on this New Mexico thing last night, they're not going to give this to the D2 universities. So the other universities in the system there, like New Mexico Highlands or whatever, they're not going to get this. So this is just the two big boys, New Mexico State. That would be, I think, a massive issue here in this state, if I'm wrong. Let me know. But you're going to have Northern, you're going to have some of these schools out west, Black Hills State, South Dakota Mines, the Border Regents universities. Hey, what are you talking about? SDSU's going to get money in USD? That's going to be your number one roadblock. That's my guess. But then you could also say, hey, These are the two Division I universities. Their budgets are massive. They're way bigger than Mines or Northern State or whatever. So we gotta spend our money wisely. These are the two institutions, USD, South Dakota State. That's how you would play this out. Would you support a bill if you had to, write your legislator? You guys have been emailing your legislative people over things. Would you say, yeah, I think we should make this investment? My question is it a smart investment? New Mexico says it's going to be a smart investment, investing in their student athletes, retaining student athletes, and then improving their athletic teams. They think that is going to play dividends on the backside for their state, New Mexico State. And I'm always a big proponent of what? Athletics is a front porch of your institution. I don't care if it's an engineering school or whatever. The athletic side of this, we know more people know about South Dakota State now. Why? Not because of the great ag programs. Those are great. Academics, it's important. But you know the answer. More people have known about South Dakota State in the past 5 years than ever before, and it's because of the national brand of football and basketball. That's it. It's not, they got some engineering there. No, it's not that. It's sports, and that's where New Mexico says invest in sports for the return on your investment for your state. What do you say? 605-720-1067 on the Nate Brown Show text line, 605-720-1067. If the bill was introduced and they said, hey, we're going to set aside some money. This is a shot in the arm for USD and SDSU, $1 million each, just an example. New Mexico's thinking about it. They got it through the Education Committee. It's going to go to the full Senate next. Would you say that's a smart investment? Actually think about it in South Dakota, or you just got to keep it as it is? That's my question of the day. 123 votes coming in right away. Let's see here. Listener text, where would this stop? If you're a legislator from Aberdeen, could you support that? If Northern received nothing? How about Spearfish or Madison? Here we go. Listener text, not unless the other border region schools are also included in this. Okay. Well, if you did it on a scale, let's say the pot is, $3 million. You go $1 million USD, $1 million SDSU, and then you split up the rest. If Northern's in this, if South Dakota Mines is in this, Black Hills State's in it, if the border region schools are in it, Dakota State, if they're in this, would you still support that if they got a little piece of the pie? Is it a smart investment to use legislative dollars to specifically go to athletics? That's really the big picture. That's really the big question. Your answers tonight. Here's the poll results on the Nate Brown Show as we start up this Wednesday. New Mexico's thinking about it. Would that ever fly in South Dakota? 59% of you say, just keep it as it is. Just keep it as it is. 41% of you say, I would go for this, a smart investment. If you set aside specific money for SDSU and USD, for example, athletics only. That's where this is going on the New Mexico side. Let's see. New Mexico's athletic director said he's not planning on using the money for NIL. He would use it for his students in other ways and student athletes. You better want to keep some oversight on that as well. I know we don't like regulation, but you got to keep some oversight on this if it goes through in New Mexico. I'm kind of thinking, how about a state of Wyoming? Wyoming has one university. One. University of Wyoming. They got junior colleges across the state. So one university. Would the Wyoming legislature go for something like this? Hey, let's set aside $2 million, shot in the arm, additional funds, supplement Wyoming athletics, kind of get them cranking a little bit in the Mountain West. I don't know what the dynamic is on that. Let's see. 59% of you say keep it as it is. You wouldn't support this. For the Jacks or Yotes, 41% would support it. Listener text, the state shouldn't be paying for players. It wouldn't take much for the players to say they are state employees. Well, and I don't think you can go down this road of making this an NIL thing. That's why New Mexico took that portion of it out. They were thinking about, hey, could we give some NIL money from the state? No, that gets a little tangled. Might get a little controversial. So New Mexico said, no, we're just going to give money to the athletic department. You know how they're playing this game, right? You know how this works. This is my guess in New Mexico. No. We're not using this money for NIL. We're going to give it to the athletic department for the student athletes at their discretion. So then the athletic department says, hey, what type of budget do we have here, here, and here? Can we move that around into the NIL? We just got an extra $2.5 million. I mean, we know how stuff works, right? That's my guess. You're not going to earmark this for NIL, but the administration down in New Mexico State can say, hey, we just got an extra $2.5 million. That means we can take money from here, here, and here. Just pump up the NIL if we want to do that. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Here's the downside of South Dakota college sports that many people don't know. I worked in college athletics for 3 years. Here's the downside for SDSU, USD, all the state universities, D2 schools, okay? No state funding is supporting the athletes from a scholarship side. So all athletic scholarships in this state have to be self-funded by fundraising, by corporate sponsorships. So South Dakota is at a disadvantage from many other states. A lot of states directly support athletics through scholarships in a lot of states. South Dakota is not one of them. So I know you're like, oh, what are scholarships? We still talk about scholarships? I'm just telling you, South Dakota has to fundraise, self-fund all scholarships for all sports. It's a big number to fundraise that every single year. Then you got to get more fundraising for all of this extra stuff, the facilities, all of this stuff. So I will tell you, South Dakota, USD, SDSU, and the D2 schools across the board, it's all privately fundraised. Many states don't have to do that. So my point is, we're already behind a little bit from that setup. And it's amazing how well some of our teams and programs have done. We got to fundraise this every single year. Every sport, every student athlete scholarship is privately funded. It gets nothing from the state of South Dakota. Zero. So would you support some money coming from the legislature for student athletes specifically? Listener text: give each high school $50,000 to cover their athletic department. Give each high school $50,000. Now we're throwing around money left and right. All right, interesting bill out of New Mexico. Not sure if it'll go far. Legislators stepping in to possibly give money to the athletic departments directly, not just in a statewide budget thing, like here's the New Mexico budget, you figure out athletics. No, this would be from the legislature to athletic departments directly, not for facilities like normal, right to the student athletes in the athletic department. New Mexico passed it out of the Education Committee. We'll see where it goes. Would South Dakota ever do it? That's my question of the day. Would you support it? Would you support it? 605-720-1067. Text us there. I'll ask Mike McFeely. I'm sure he has some thoughts. He covers North Dakota State. Summit League basketball tonight. Bison Jacks men's hoops. Mike McFeely on the way.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Andersen, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February's snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RVARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Andersen.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 9 below. Tonight, under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 22. Mainly clear tomorrow night. Lows around 8 above. Turning much warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 40s to the upper 40s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 7 below.
Save $9,500 off MSRP on a new 24 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4x4 at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet. We've got over 30 HD Silverados and our best selection in months of Tahoes and Suburbans, all of them with huge Danny Menho discounts. 18 new Equinoxes in stock, plus Trailblazers and Trax. See us at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet or DannyMenhoRapidChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. Discount includes all factory rebates. The dealer must qualify for 2,000 owner loyalty rebates. See dealer for qualification details. Expires 3/3/25.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, VP, money get 250 here, now 75, 275, now 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. Just getting going on a Wednesday, The Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Appreciate you making this show possible. Hope you're having a good day. Packed tonight. Mike Golick Jr. is coming up. There's a college football scam like you've never seen. It's a con job coming up. Mike Golick Jr. is on the way. Brian Henshin's on tonight, our old friend, formerly of the Argus Leader, now with the Indianapolis Star, talking high school sports. He wants Indiana to adopt what South Dakota has done in high school sports. Can you believe it? I believe it. Brian Henshin's coming up tonight. All right, Mike McFeely's on. Inforum.com, columnist. Mike, welcome back on. How are you?
It's been a while. I thought you forgot about me here since the FCS football season ended, but you must be desperate tonight for a guest, and so I'm always available for you, Nate.
I'm ready.
I always appreciate coming on.
I'm ready, and I appreciate you coming on. We're going to get to matchup tonight, a little Summit League talk here. NDSU's playing South Dakota State on the men's side. I want to get your reaction and just what you think of this. What's the pulse of this? So I started my show with, it's legislative sessions across the country, and New Mexico's doing something new. They're thinking about funding athletic departments directly, not just in like the budget from the state, here's the money to the university. They say, here's some extra money to athletics only, $2.5 million each for New Mexico Lobos and New Mexico State Aggies to help with student athletes training, attendance, true attendance costs, services, travel, all the bells and whistles. This got to go to the athletes, athletic department, shot in the arm. Would that type of funding, New Mexico hasn't gotten it through. They passed it through the committee, education committee. Would that model ever fly in SDSU, NDSU, USD?
I can't speak for South Dakota, but I can speak for the North Dakota side of things, and I can say unequivocally that would not have a snowball's chance in Miami of passing in North Dakota. I think it's fairly well known. Maybe it's not, but North Dakota State is among the FCS teams. I think it's actually the FCS program, FCS athletic department, that gets the fewest state and institutional dollars of any FCS team. And so they raise pretty much all their own money. And that's just kind of the way it is up here. The percentage is like just a tiny, infinitesimal percentage of their athletic budget comes from the state. And even UND, 70 miles away, gets far more state support for athletics than NDSU does. I don't know why that is. But so I don't see that ever passing, ever flying in North Dakota, despite the fact that they have like $50 billion in the bank because of all the oil in North Dakota. They really don't like to spend money up here. I don't. I'm a little more left of center guy, and so if you have a bunch of money, why not invest it in the state into things that matter to people and that can move the state forward? But that's not the way things are done in North Dakota, and so I don't see that ever happening up here. I don't know what $2.5 million. That's the figure in New Mexico. I don't know if they're that desperate for money that's going to really help with all that much, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Well, that's the thing, is they're thinking, let's send it right into the athletic department. It's going to go to the Senate because it passed the education committee in New Mexico. And I'm just thinking, up in this part of the country, would that fly for some of these universities that are needing dollars? Meaning, you kind of mentioned North Dakota State not getting a bunch of state support. In South Dakota, there is zero money for athletic scholarships at all. Zero. So that's all privately fundraised. Every player, every team, every year. And it's a big number just from the scholarships. I know we don't even talk about those anymore, but that's a big fundraising number. So I do
and I think it's the same in Montana. Is much like North Dakota in that both Montana and Montana State get almost nothing from the state legislature in terms of athletics. The schools are funded. You know, they're still educational institutions. We have to remember that. But Montana, that's been always one of the questions about going FBS for both North Dakota State and the two Montana schools is, could they afford it, because they have to raise all the money themselves. They get almost nothing from the state. And in North Dakota State's case, the student fees for athletics is so small that they really don't get much institutional support either. So it's whatever they're doing at NDSU in terms of football, basketball, wrestling, it is pretty much all on the athletic department fundraisers to raise that money.
Okay, this is my big picture question with Mike McFeely on tonight from North Dakota. Inforum.com covers the Bison and the Summit League and the FCS. So is it a smart investment? Let's just say New Mexico does this. And let's say South Dakota thought, I'm going to bring this bill next legislative session, a Jax alum. Hey, we need to do this too. Is it a smart investment into athletics? I think it's the front porch of your entire institution, but does it pay off?
Well, I was just going to say the exact same thing. As we all, as much as athletics get blasted by a lot of people, you and I both know that the old cliche is that athletics are the front porch of the university. And as sad as it is, I guess, there's nobody talking about North Dakota State's chemistry department. When you talk about North Dakota State or South Dakota State, you're talking about football or basketball or whatever sport it might be. And so, again, for a state like North Dakota, that is not hurting for money in any way, shape, or form. I mean, $2.5 million for the state of North Dakota right now is like 34 cents for Nate Brown. I mean, it is just not a lot of money. And so I think it would be a good investment. I just don't ever see it happening up here. That's just not something that's going to happen. And North Dakota State's president and deans are in Bismarck right now trying to scrap for every dollar they can. And I just don't see extra money going towards athletics.
Here's my poll question online. I said, would it be a smart investment if South Dakota legislature brought a bill like this? Would you support it for the Jacks and the Yotes, like $1 million each? 60% say no, keep them as they are. 40% say yes, smart investment. And these are just my followers, which are mainly sports fans. So maybe that's a sign. Okay, speaking of the Education Committee, let's go to North Dakota. Mike McFeely, you just wrote this piece. I've got it here. They were talking high school sports. You touched on this earlier on the show, the last time I had you on, a high school transfer bill, where it would open up transferring every which way, basically, for high school sports. You could do it for athletics. You could play right away. They said do not pass that 9-to-5 Education Committee. So that seems like a win for people wanting to keep high school sports out of the college portal landscape.
Well, the way it works in North Dakota is every bill that's introduced gets a hearing in committee, and then the committee makes a recommendation to the full body, in this case the House of Representatives. And so it's still alive. It still could pass on the floor of the House and then move to the Senate. But the recommendation was 9-to-5, as you said, do not pass. And I think what has happened is, I know what happened is that there's a couple of cases in North Dakota right now where the parents and the people surrounding a couple of athletes are not happy because their child did not follow the rules, or the family didn't follow the rules, and they want to play right away in their respective sports, which happen to be swimming and basketball, boys basketball. And so they raised the stink with their local legislators, and their local legislators, trying to, I suppose, respond to their constituents, brought this bill forward to change the whole structure of transfers in North Dakota. But fortunately, the High School Activities Association made its case well enough and made sort of a couple of compromises, and they're going to have a committee and they're going to do some different things that for now this bill has been avoided in North Dakota. The interesting thing, I watched the entire hearing the other day before I wrote the column, and first of all, I said this on another radio station earlier this week. If you want to be depressed, just watch a live stream of a state legislature, because half those people don't know what in gosh's name is going on with anything, and they're making the decision for the whole state. Be that as it may, one of the people who testified against it brought up a great point, and they said, I know that there are some parents upset about, their child not being able to get a hardship case to play right away, but I don't think the whole story is being told. And that's because the State High School League can't really say anything because of privacy laws.
Yeah.
And so people always have to keep in mind that when you hear about parents griping about their kid not being eligible or not getting a hardship case to be eligible right away, they can tell their story. The High School League can't tell its story because of privacy laws. And I think that kind of swayed some committee members to kind of, rub their chin and go, maybe we're not getting both sides of the story here. And so it was able to get a 9-to-5 do not pass recommendation, which is a good thing. It's the right thing. This bill, if it would have passed as is, would have just been absolute chaos in high school sports in North Dakota, and it would have ruined the high school sports as we know them.
It would have essentially allowed unlimited transfers for high school sports in North Dakota. Mike McFeely's on from Inforum.com. Speaking of one more bill, let's come back to South Dakota. This is a high school event bill here. Sioux Falls School District is now not taking cash to get into games. That's their policy. Yeah. So it's all credit, it's cashless. Just like some of these major venues, some of the big pro sports arenas and college arenas, no cash at all. But now in high school, there's people that are upset, and they said, we're going to make Sioux Falls accept cash. And the Senate yesterday passed a bill to say, you have to accept cash. And you say what?
I say, let the state legislature get involved where it doesn't need to get involved. I would think there'd be a better way to convince Sioux Falls to take cash. But I personally don't carry cash. I don't know about you or your listeners, but I get it. I mean, it just makes things way easier if everything is cashless, whether it's a credit card or whether it's PayPal or Apple Pay or whatever the case might be. At the same time, North Dakota and South Dakota are still small enough states, I think, that there's still a lot of people that carry cash. And so I think that the big cities like Sioux Falls and Fargo maybe have to take that into consideration, that what maybe is a good thing in Minneapolis or Chicago or Dallas maybe isn't such a good thing yet in Sioux Falls or Fargo. So I get it. I just don't know that the state legislature has to get involved there.
Interesting deal on that, because now it's going to go to the House. It passed the Senate. It's going to go to the House. And really, there's only a few school districts doing it, and they're all in the Sioux Falls area. That's it. But the state legislature trying to see if they can essentially force cash acceptance. All right, Mike McFeely, that was a wild one. North Dakota State SDSU, last one tonight, men's hoops. Are the Jacks men a team that could win the whole thing?
I think the Jacks are the favorites. I think they're the best. From what I've seen covering the games I've covered and attending the games that I've attended and watched on streaming, I think South Dakota State's the best team on the men's side. They're clearly the best team on the women's side. There's no doubt about that. But Omaha, I think, has kind of showed what they are the last couple of weeks. North Dakota State has a couple of really good players in Jackson Money and Jakari White. I just don't think NDSU has enough this year to match up with South Dakota State, especially once they get down to Sioux Falls for the tournament. St. Thomas is good. I just think the Jacks with Oscar Clough and those young guards they have are just they're the best team that I've seen, the most well-rounded team. That being said, I got into this discussion the other day as well, Nate, but boy, with the transfer portal being what it is these days, the Summit League is just kind of flattened out. I think that the Jacks are good. They're not great. I don't think there's any great teams in the Summit League, and I think that's unfortunate for this league, because there used to be some really, really good teams that were put together over the long term by South Dakota State and North Dakota State over the years.
Yeah, South Dakota State lost 2 starters to UCLA and to Kansas. I mean, those were 2 players that would be back with the Jacks. But you heard it here first.
NDSU lost Grant Nelson a couple of years ago to Alabama and Andrew Morgan to Nebraska this year. Right. So if you just, it's irrelevant because it doesn't matter anymore. But boy, if you look at what some of these teams could be this year, that's kind of like the old Summit League where you could build a team for 4 or 5 years and kind of see the Mike Doms and the David Jenkins and players like that. And I just don't know if we're ever going to see that again in the Summit League because of the transferring.
Great to have him. Mike McFeely back on tonight. Read his work, Inforum.com columnist. Mike, always great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nate. Good to talk to you.
Appreciate your time. Mike McFeely, columnist, Inforum.com, live from Fargo. Good stuff with Mike. Throwing it around, shooting it around. He's never afraid to shoot it around. Listener text coming in on the question of the day. Would you ever support the South Dakota legislature carving out special money, additional money, to supplement SDSU and USD athletics specifically? Not just through the budget from the university, more money for athletics specifically. Would you support that? 605-720-1067. We'll keep the answers coming in on the text line. We'll get to that. First, Thor Nystrom's on. His top quarterbacks for the NFL draft. He's got 18 of them. I'm only going to ask him about 3 next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Hello there, I'm a snowman. The South Dakota Lottery hired me to promote their new 60 Days of Winter giveaway. I get most of you don't like winter, but I love it. And now you can too, because the South Dakota Lottery is putting the win in winter with 60 days of giveaways. Every week features new winners and prizes, including concert tickets, gift cards, and more. So enter daily at 60daysofwinter.com. Hurry before winter is over and this contest is gone, like me. Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Find your fortune and fall for big wins during the Love and Luck promotion at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. Join us every Friday and Saturday night from 8 p.m. to midnight for prize drawings that grow bigger each hour. Then, don't miss the grand prize event on Saturday, March 29th, where 10 lucky winners will take home prizes ranging from $500 to $5,000. Let Love and Luck bring you big wins and even bigger thrills. Only at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort in Deadwood. How will your night play out?
Hey guys, glad you made it. Go ahead and put your hot dish on the picnic table with the others.
But won't it get cold?
Oh, little announcement. We will be eating outside in the cold tonight. Not my idea.
But June, it's starting to snow.
Cheapskate Jerry here.
What?
Thought we could go another year before we replaced our drafty old windows.
If only June and Jerry had done a free consultation with Renewal by Anderson, their new replacement windows would be in, and their guests wouldn't be out in the cold.
Swedish meatball, anyone?
Only if I could eat it inside.
Trust me, it's warmer out here than it is in the house.
If only they knew that Renewal has acclaimed custom windows and ensemble doors to keep their home warm and cozy. With financing options even Cheapskate Jerry can afford.
What?
My fingers are frozen.
Mine nose hairs are frozen.
Mine broke off.
Worst party ever.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit acclaimed windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Anderson. Learn more at RBARapidCity.com.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner. And I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs. And Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
It is the Nate Brown Show, Wednesday edition on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. You can answer our question of the day every day right there on Twitter. Follow us at Nate Brown Show. You can watch this show live right now. Welcome in studio. Follow and watch the show on Twitter at Nate Brown Show. New segment idea. I think we should start maybe just going to the social media posts that we receive just randomly across South Dakota. It's very interesting. Some interesting folks out there. Appreciate you being a part of the program. Thor Nystrom's on tonight. NFL draft analyst. Fantasy Life. Follow him on Twitter at ThorKU. He just came out with his top 18 quarterbacks on the NFL draft board. 18, Thor. I don't have time for that. No, man, I appreciate you coming on. How are you?
I'm doing well, Nate. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I want to ask you first, before we get to the draft side, I got to get your read on this Vikings thing.
Trade worked out in advance because you need him to be he's going to have to be cool with it, especially after the way you framed it publicly. So that, it's probably a stretch there. And then as far as just, tagging him and like, oh, we could keep him on the roster next year. Sure, theoretically you could, but you got, I think it's $75 million in cap space. Maybe it's 70. I didn't recheck the numbers today after they changed the cap, but you're giving more than half of it at that point to a guy that I don't think anybody is certain would win the training camp battle. So you might be paying $40+ million for a QB2 for 1 year, and then you're not going to get the third-round comp pick the next offseason when he leaves in free agency.
Okay, one more on this. Why are you confident in J.J. McCarthy, and it kind of feels like you think the Vikings, O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, are very confident as well? We haven't seen much.
Yeah, he has all the physical tools in the world. He has the second fastest max velo throw in the history of the combine. 1 mile per hour under the record, sixth fastest 3-cone last year at the combine, regardless of position. Runs either in the high 4.4s or low 4.5s, and then he won a national title under a sitting NFL head coach in a 12 personnel pro style offense. That head coach said that J.J. McCarthy was the best player in the last draft. He's a really good fit for O'Connell's offense. You know, you get both the in structure type stuff. He showed that he could do that at Michigan. The intermediate stuff over the middle, the timing concepts, the anticipatory throws. But you also have with him an ad-libbing element to his game where he can get outside the pocket, he can make someone miss, get outside the pocket, and then he can hit someone deep sector of the field, even on the opposite hash. That's something you didn't have with Sam Darnold. He could follow the script more or less, but he couldn't go off of it. And, in the pocket, not a ton of mobility there, took a lot of sacks. So that's going to be a different thing with McCarthy next year.
Thor Nystrom giving his breakdown of the Vikings, the Sam Darnold. He says Sam's going to go. The Vikings are going to roll with J.J. McCarthy. Thor Nystrom's on Fantasy Life, NFL draft analyst. So one more, Aaron Jones. How much left does Aaron Jones have for the Vikings?
I sort of think that Aaron Jones is going to be back because he had a void date in his contract that Jones agreed to move back to give him and the team longer to talk about a new contract. And I think it's going to end up being right around what he got last year. He got like the 1 year, $5 or $6 million contract, whatever. I think he's going to get essentially the same thing. And then you're going to use a mid-round pick on a running back that is going to platoon with him immediately. So, the Vikings have a third-round comp pick, so they're at the end of the third round. There's going to be a bunch of running backs there that would fit. Devin Neal of Kansas, R.J. Harvey of UCF, go Ollie Gordon of Oklahoma State, you go Damian Martinez of Miami. There's a whole bunch of them that then you could platoon with Jones the first year, and then Jones, leaves or retires, whatever he's going to do. He won't be on the Vikings 2026. The third-round guy then becomes the starter, and then depending on how much he showed, you can decide how many resources you want to put into, bringing a new running back onto your roster at that point, whether you want to do another draft pick, whether you want to sign someone, or whether that guy can take the full load and it doesn't really matter.
Okay, let's go to the QB Big Board. You can find him at ThorKU on Twitter. He has it up there, 18 top QBs for the NFL draft. Find his work at Fantasy Life. Thor Nystrom's on tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Appreciate his time. So the big talk is, not from the experts like you, Thor, but I want to know what you say. The big national media says there's no real deal NFL franchise QB in this draft. Not one. Is that accurate?
No, I don't think it is. I think we're going to get one out of this class, and I think it's Shadir Sanders. So I disagree with this with some people too, because a lot of people have Cam Ward as QB1. But I think Shadir Sanders is the best quarterback we have in this class. And I would have ranked him right around where I had Drake May last year, to give people a sort of a totem in their minds. I had Drake May quarterback 4 of the last class, and I'd have, grade Sanders right around where I have him. Different types of quarterbacks, though. Shadir Sanders, pure pocket passer. He's another guy will make people miss. He can extend the play by time, but his superpower is accuracy. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks you'll see coming out. And he's got such good upper body mechanics. They're repeatable. It's tight. It's close to his body. I think of it like an archer shooting is sort of the way his throwing motion is, and it's just highly repeatable. So the accuracy and the placement never waver on him. Both of them are elite. And I also like what he did behind bad offensive lines the last couple of years on a team that had no running threat. I mean, yeah, he played with Travis Hunter, but defenses knew they were just going to be throwing the ball the whole game, and there was the bad offensive line. So the defensive ends could just pin their ears back. he dealt with a lot of pressure in college, and he showed that he can make accurate throws down the field when there's heat in his face. So for me, it's Shedeur Sanders. I compare him to Drew Brees.
Okay, so I went and watched Sanders live, and I watched a lot of his games this year. One thing that I was like, you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, yes, he was running for his life, this and that. He took 20-yard sacks. I mean, more than one. I mean, the guy, it's like, what are we doing? Is there any concerns on decision-making on what happens there?
Well, the good thing about Shedeur Sanders is that he doesn't put the ball up for grabs. Like, his turnover-worthy play rate is as low as you're going to see, and you know, a guy like Cam Ward, he dances around in the pocket, and then he'll throw it up for grabs if there's no other options. Like, he won't throw it away. You know, sometimes he'll run, but a lot of times you'll see him try to throw across his body and make like a trick shot throw when he's running out of options. Shedeur is different in that regard. He's not going to put the ball at risk. Yeah, that keeps him back there in the pocket sometimes where he's trying to make a decision and gets engulfed. And you know, sometimes you have seen him trying to buy time, and in so doing, running backwards. Yeah. That is something, hopefully, that you would think you would be able to coach that specific element out of him. But the other stuff you really like.
Thor Nystrom with a great breakdown. It's at fantasylife.com right now. His quarterback big board. One more. I know you got Jackson Dart in there at 3. So you got Shedeur Sanders 1, Cam Ward 2, Jackson Dart 3. Then I'm looking down the line. It's like Jalen Milroe, Alabama QB. Where's his ceiling here? Jalen Milroe, is he an NFL QB?
Yeah, he's definitely going to get the opportunity, and we'll see what he gets with the draft equity. I think he's going to run in the 4.3s at 225 pounds a week from Saturday at the NFL Combine, and if that happens, all of a sudden now you're probably going to have to be a top 50 pick because that is just absolutely freakish athleticism, and he can push the ball down the field. He's one of the best deep ball throwers we had the last couple of years. Those two, aspects of his evaluation, it's not too dissimilar, different kinds of players, but not too dissimilar from the profile treetops of Jaden Daniels last year, where he was the scrambler and then he was the awesome deep ball guy. The difference is Jaden Daniels was really good at stuff, the short and intermediate. He was good with the timing concepts. He was accurate there. So the defense, you have to protect the entire field against Jaden Daniels while being concerned that he's going to run. With Malik, or I almost called him Malik Willis, the guy that I comp him to. But with Jalen Milroe, those concepts, the intermediate stuff, the timing concepts, he has never been good at them. He had as many interceptions as touchdown throws the last 2 seasons combined on throws within 19 yards of the line of scrimmage. Whereas 20-plus yard throws, he had like 30 more touchdowns than he had interceptions. Like, it's crazy. He's one of the best deep ball throwers we've seen come out the last decade, and one of the worst intermediate throwers of quarterbacks that are seriously going to be considered as a top 100 pick. The ball of clay is fascinating, but the one thing I caution people about, everyone thought Kalen DeBoer taking over there, he's going to be able to polish that aspect of his game. He did it with Michael Penix. He's one of the best quarterback whisperers we have. He's one of the best play callers we have. He could not figure it out with Jalen Milroe. And as the season went on, the bad marriage, it got even worse. Kalen DeBoer was trying to keep Jalen Milroe in the pocket. Jalen Milroe likes to scramble when he's exhausted the first couple options. The marriage just didn't work, and Kalen DeBoer did not want Jalen Milroe back. Jalen Milroe needs to be in an offense that is designed around him, very much like Lamar Jackson. We'll end up seeing if he is picked high enough for his franchise to justify that.
It's a great breakdown, like one of the best in the country. He puts a lot of work into it. FantasyLife.com. The quarterback board is up there, and the draft will be here soon. Follow him at ThorKU, FantasyLife.com. Thor Nystrom, always good, man. Thanks a lot.
Love talking to you, Nick.
Appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. Thor Nystrom tonight, NFL draft analyst. Really good. Great breakdown. He's got 18 quarterbacks on the board with comps and what he thinks of them. He's got Shedeur Sanders, number one. FantasyLife.com. Our question of the day is interesting today. What would you support in South Dakota? If there was a bill that came across in Pierce saying we're going to give extra money to the Jackson Yotes for athletics only, would you support that? Our question of the day, what do you say? 605-720-1067. Back with the answers next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 9 below. Tonight, under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 22. Mainly clear tomorrow night. Lows around 8 above. Turning much warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 40s to the upper 40s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 7 below.
Get ready to heat things up this month at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort with a hot tub and spa package from Rapid Spas worth $13,000. It's all part of Tin Lizzy's $100,000 Easy Street giveaways, and we're giving you one more chance to win this awesome prize in February. Use your Clubhouse card when you play, and we'll give you one free entry per day and an additional entry for every 100 points you earn. Join us on February 22nd, and you could win a brand new hot tub installed in your home. It's all happening at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort on historic Main Street, Deadwood.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
The wait is over. We're clearing out our 2024 models at Spearfish GMC Cadillac. We've discounted all of our remaining 2024 models, but don't wait because stock is limited. New 2024 Sierra 1500 up to $9,300 off. 24 GMC Yukon as low as $71,927. Remaining 24 Sierra HDs up to $6,000 off. And 24 Cadillac Lyriq EV up to $10,000 off. Spearfish GMC Cadillac, online always at spearfishmotors.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is live. Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, and we're ready to go with the question of the day. You know that every day on the program. Tonight, we threw it out there to see what you think. If South Dakota were to ever do this, let's throw it out. New Mexico legislature is looking at giving $2.5 million extra just for athletics to New Mexico Lobos athletics and New Mexico State Aggies athletics. So they'd get $2.5 million each. The Education Committee in New Mexico just passed that yesterday, and they said, we're trying to get this to the Senate floor. A supplement basically for athletics to crank up this day and age in college athletics. You need some money. So New Mexico said, how about we give it specifically to athletics, not just the basic budget to the state university, additional money. What if that ever happened in South Dakota? That's my question of the day. If there was ever a bill in South Dakota legislature in Pierre, it said, we're going to give additional money specifically to support SDSU and USD athletics. What would you say? 605-720-1067 on the Barron's Wilson text line. Your answer's coming in. Let's go to some. Listener text. Us SDSU alums would be all for it. USD alums would say only if we get more coverage in the Argus, then we would do it. Oh, look out. That was a shot. That was a shot. Let's see. Listener text. If the legislature's giving away athletic scholarships in South Dakota, then the Schollies need to go only to South Dakota graduates. Well, no, we're not talking about the legislature giving money for scholarships per se, but I guess either way, if you gave extra money to the athletic department, it would be under the discretion of the athletic department what they would do with, I don't know, an extra $1 million. Let's say the Jacks Athletics got an extra $1 million to fill the gap of whatever they need to fill. All right, let's see. Listener text. When it comes to USD, I've never in my life understood why a law school and a medical school don't have enough doctors and lawyers alumni to donate. SDSU's a big ag school, and their collective is doing okay. Listener text, where would this money come from? Our budget doesn't support that. You tell me. I don't know if you would really ever get a lot of support for something like they're doing in New Mexico. And I don't know if this New Mexico bill is going to pass. It came out of the Education Committee and passed out of there. Will New Mexico fund, and it's $2.5 million each for New Mexico and New Mexico State. Will they pass it through for athletics specifically, an extra shot in the arm, essentially? It's a one-time thing. They say, we're going to give this one-time money this year, $2.5 million each. I don't think you'd have a lot of appetite in South Dakota for that. That's just my guess. Number one, people are going to say, well, what about the D2 schools? What about the other Board of Regents schools? I'm already hearing that quite a bit. Let's just say they found some money for them as well, maybe $150K, $200K, I don't know. It's all relative, right, on a scale. But for the two big universities, USD, SDSU, would you support a bill to set aside additional money through the legislature like New Mexico's looking at doing for their big universities? Here's the poll results on Twitter. 59% of you say, no, I wouldn't, just keep it as it is. 41% of you say, yes, it would be a smart investment to fund the athletic departments with some extra money. Into the second hour tonight, I'm going to hit on the scam in college football that they're trying to keep under wraps. Yeah, they're trying to keep it under wraps. And then I got to hit on 5 questions from Chris, our loyal listener, Chris. It's Wednesday. 5 questions from Chris, all on the way.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors and our communities. And because we're in the neighborhood, we can deliver almost anything you need. So shop in store or online for whatever your home or yard needs. Choose from top brands like Milwaukee, Steel, Traeger, and Benjamin Moore. Then pick up in-store, curbside, or we'll deliver your order right to your home. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know how to help. See acehardware.com for details.
The bakers of Country Hearth and Village Hearth Breads are proud to support local education with Loaves for Learning, the program that makes it easy to earn money for your school. Enjoy Country Hearth and Village Hearth all-natural breads, buns, bagels, and more, then save the UPC from the package for your school to collect and redeem. Each is worth 5 cents and can be used for books, computers, sports, music, whatever your school needs, up to $10,000 a year. Learn more at loavesforlearning.com. Country Hearth and Village Hearth Breads, baking our best for you.
We're bringing Music City to you. Get ready for Nashville Night on March 22nd at the Box Elder Event Center. The concert kicks off at 7 p.m. with the talented Jessica Luby, followed by the high-energy Velvet Rodeo. Put on your boots and get ready to dance. Plus, test your skills on the mechanical bull.
Hold on tight, honey. You got it.
And enjoy Nashville hot chicken sandwiches.
Yeehaw!
Tickets are just $20 in advance or $25 at the door. Get your tickets now at thebox.live. Don't miss out on the country event of the year.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner, and I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs, and Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey Rush fans, it's Rob at the Firehouse Skybox. We are your official home for Rapid City Rush hockey. When the Rush are playing on the road, join other Rush fans at the Skybox and enjoy some great food and cheer on your Rush. We show every Rush away game and we'll have Rush-themed giveaways every road trip. You'll get a chance to win great Rush prizes with the purchase of a drink or food item. The Skybox has the best food and the best Rush game day experience. Go Rush!
We're talking with Rihanna Wickett at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy with an Elevate Performance Health Minute. So if somebody has an athlete, Rihanna, who they suffer a concussion, they come and see you, what can you do for them?
We want to see them as soon as possible to make sure that we can make their return to sport as safe as possible. So we can look at proprioception, balance, vestibular work, and cervical strength.
When they try to get back up to speed, you said a treatment plan, very important as they return to sport.
Making sure that the athlete has a skilled plan moving forward so that they don't return to sport way too early, making sure that the return to contact is an appropriate timing.
And the goal of that is you do not want to have another concussion getting back to it too early.
Correct. If we have another concussion too early, the athlete is at a huge risk of further problems down the road, including anything with their school or memory or continuous headaches.
For concussion treatment, get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, hope you had a great day. It is always a great day in South Dakota, even it's still cold, right? I've heard that. I've felt that. We're trying to get out of this thing. We will soon. Stay with us. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Second hour kicking off South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Great guest coming up. Hang on. Mike Golick Jr. is going to join us live. Great host on Gojo and Golick. National host Mike Golick Jr. is in. I want to get his read on this college football secret plan. I think it is. I think they got something going. If the reporting's accurate, look out. Mike Golick Jr. is coming up. A reaction on the college football big plan. Brian Henschen's on tonight. Former Argus leader, sports writer, now writes for the Indianapolis Star. High school sports writer in Indiana. Brian's on a quest to have Indiana change high school sports like South Dakota does, specifically in this one sport. He's on a quest. We're going to check in with him in Indiana to see how it's going. Former writer for the Argus Leader on tonight. Brian Henschen coming up, a great guest over the years. So 5 questions from Chris on the way. Hang on. I've got 5 answers, Chris. Hang on. Let me see if I can work through this. But first, I got to tell you about this little plan that people are reporting on for the college football deal. So the Big Ten and the SEC started meeting in New Orleans. These are the leaders, right? Big Ten, SEC, the big boy conferences. They've taken over the two evil empires. No, they've taken over. They got the massive USC, Washington, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas. They've all been added. All the big boys are together. And the discussion is today, they just said, hey, we talked about the college football playoff, and, we were at 12 teams, and we think we probably got to change the seeding formula. Okay. And all of you fans, what that means is they're thinking about, the automatic bids, like the top 4 seeds, probably shouldn't go to some of the conference champions. Like Big Ten, SEC for sure, but, I'm putting words into their mouth. But I'm reading through the lines. They said the seeding formula for the college football playoff, the 12 teams this year, probably wasn't right. So we're discussing how to do that. Oh, good. That's fine. I agree. I do. I agree. The seeding formula was a little off. Should Boise State, Matt Kearney's favorite team, have been ranked as high as they were? Probably not. Okay, so that's a little off. But you know what they're really going to talk about? These are the reporting from Ross Dellinger. We've had Ross on the show before, college football writer, SI. Ross Dellinger saying the leaders in the Big Ten of the SEC really want to go to 14 teams, so they want to expand it by 2. And they want to get automatic bids now for the SEC and Big Ten, not 1 like they've got now, but 4 each. I mean, can you guys keep your car on the road tonight? Is this ridiculous or not? I mean, you tell me, even if you're a Husker fan, an Iowa fan, I don't care. So are you telling me that the Big Ten and the SEC are deserving of 4 automatic bids? I mean, I understand the big programs are there, but this is going to take away the committee, essentially. Why do we have a committee? They're going to decide the 6 other teams? It's pretty easy. I can do it now for you. Notre Dame, let's see, whoever the group of 5 team is that's good. I don't know. It might be Boise State or Memphis or I don't know. Whoever that is. And then you're good, right? And then you just take the highest ranked rest of the teams. But you've already got over half of the field is what they're going to push for. The reporting is they're going to push for 4 automatic bids for the Big Ten, 4 automatic bids for the SEC. That's bonkers. I just don't even get how that's feasible. This is unbelievable. 4 automatic bids. You want to talk about the regular season being it's like, SEC teams, they've lost 3 times. Yeah, but they're still in the top 4 in their conference, so they're in. What do you mean? A team that's lost 3 times is going to be good to go? Yeah, pretty much. I think people have overlooked that the last 2 days. They're not saying it yet. Nobody's wanting to say that. They asked Greg Sankey about it, the SEC commissioner today. What are the plans for the future of the college football playoff? The future, he said, I don't want to get into that today. I've heard that one before. Hey, let's do this.
It's time for 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show.
All right, let's go. 5 questions from our loyal listener, Chris. Let's see how tough they are today. Question 1. Nate, NHL players haven't played for their country in 10 years, and they're now doing that in the 4 Nations tournament. The NHL did not do the All-Star weekend. They did this 4 Nations, and USA is taking on Canada coming up. In non-Olympic years, should the NHL just drop this All-Star weekend and do these nation versus nation type of games? Well, apparently so, Chris. I'm going to say yes to that. This 4 Nations thing, I didn't know what to think of it. I'm not a hockey super fan, but it's been way better than any other thing pro sports has done. NBA All-Star Game, a mess. Pro Bowl, terrible. MLB All-Star Game, okay, I guess. But the 4 Nations thing has been passionate. It's been interesting. And USA-Canada is going to be interesting this week. We had over 5 million people watch USA-Canada the first game they played this past weekend. So the 4 Nations thing, and if the NHL is going to put more nation versus nation type games on, I think people buy into that. I like it. Question number 2. NBA All-Star Game on TNT celebrated itself for 15 minutes and then said goodbye to the NBA after 40 years as a broadcast partner, TNT and the NBA. Do you think Warner Bros. Will regret not offering the NBA what it wanted in terms of money to retain their media rights package? Yeah, did TNT make a mistake? They've had a long history with the NBA. That's a hard one for me to know, Chris. I don't know. I mean, I think you have to be willing to invest when you have a great partnership like that and a great brand. What does TNT then become? What do they become? Sports is the ticket. Live sports is the draw. So what do you become? I mean, you can only watch Law and Order so many times. What is TNT going to become? They're not going to have live NBA. They'll have a few things here or there. They got some hockey. They're into the March Madness side, I guess, but they had the NBA all season long and a long time. I don't know if they messed that up, but it's not going to be great. TNT losing the NBA As much as people say the NBA is faded, that's not great for TNT. Just more Law and Orders. Question number 3. Caitlin Clark's agent said in order for the WNBA to reach its potential, they might have to spin off from the NBA, go on their own. Nate, you become a fan of the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. Do you think it should spin off or maybe go to an 82-game schedule, play the same time frame as the NBA? I wouldn't do any of that. I would not go up against the NBA. There's college hoops on. There's NBA on right now. I don't think they should go up against the NBA. I understand spring, summer isn't a huge draw. People are out vacationing, nice weather. But the WNBA did good. That was like the sport in the summer. The WNBA did good. No more games. I don't think you want 82. That's too many. We're seeing that with the NBA. Too many is too much. Just roll with it now. I think the WNBA doesn't have to absolutely hit the gas 100%. We got to do this and this and this. WNBA and Caitlin Clark just starting to get popular. Just starting, and I think it's going to get better. Just hold on the investment. Question number 4, 5 questions from Chris tonight. Speaking of the WNBA, they look like they want to expand. Cities currently bidding for a 17th and possible 18th franchise are Houston, Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami. City that's sort of a surprise in the running is Nashville. Do you think the WNBA should expand to cities that already have an NBA team or go after new basketball markets? Now, that's a good question. Go to NBA markets or your own market? My guess is your own. I mean, I understand you have basketball fans, you got the NBA arena, let's maybe do the NBA markets. I'm going to go after teams that you are the show. Markets where you are the show. Not, we have WNBA in the summer, but we got the NBA here. And now you're the show. So if I'm the WNBA like Nashville, I'm taking that, I guess. You don't have to be in a NBA market, I don't think. You want to be the show. Question number 5, 5 questions from Chris tonight. The NFL offseason's begun. One of the big moves is Aaron Rodgers not coming back to the Jets. There was a lot of leaks. News breaking. Aaron saying this, the Jets saying that. Why are the badly managed teams always the same ones that remain in the cycle of poor performing teams on the field? Leadership starts at the top. My Broncos had one of the best owners, Mr. Pat Bowlen. One of the best owners, and they had a ton of stability, success. The brand was strong. The fan base, just outstanding. Loyalty, outstanding. When Pat Bowlen got sick, and there was a gap there, and Pat Bowlen passed away, and there was a gap, I don't care what you say, the Broncos fell off. The Broncos fell off when you lost the top. That's why. Leadership at the top, whether it's the Jets, the Browns, whoever you want to say. And I always give the credit to the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a solid run organization, top to bottom. Solid. That's why the badly managed teams tend to be poor performing teams. It does go together. I believe that. 5 questions from Chris in the books. Mike Golick Jr., our next guest. Great guest on the way.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. the #1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 9 below. Tonight, under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 22. Mainly clear tomorrow night. Lows around 8 above. Turning much warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 40s to the upper 40s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 6 below.
Shop the area's best selection of pre-owned Hondas and Honda certified pre-owned at Denny Menno Rushmore Honda. Get financing as low as 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Passports. 0.99. Plus, shop a lot full of used cars, trucks, and sport utilities, including a great selection of all-wheel drive and 4x4 trucks and SUVs. See us at Denny Menno Rushmore Honda or RushmoreHonda.com. Length of finance contract is limited with qualified credit. Expires 2/28/25.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Where can you get surprisingly great rates on auto and renter's insurance? At State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Matt McCormick, and I'm your one-stop shop in Rapid City for protecting your car and your stuff for surprisingly great rates. So stop looking around. Call me, State Farm agent Matt McCormick, for surprisingly great auto and renter's rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in. It's always a great day in South Dakota. The motto of the show, hope you've had a great day. 6 below, wherever you're at. I mean, it's like below zero. We're battling. We're just grinding the last few days. 50s coming in some parts of South Dakota this weekend. Hang on. Hang on. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio with Mike Golick Jr. His show is Gojo and Golick. Great show. Check it out. Gojo and Golick. Find him on Twitter at Mike Golick Jr. Mike, welcome back on. How are you?
Doing well. How you doing, Nate?
Doing good, man. It's cold up here. We're tough up here, though, in South Dakota. I mean, we are tough, man. I got to ask you, I just saw your taste test. I mean, you've become famous for this, Mike. I know you're a famous sports guy, but you become famous for taste testing snacks. It was like a new Oreo or something. What happened here today?
For whatever reason, I've stumbled into taking something I've done my whole life, which is eat food and snacks in various varieties, and just put it on camera, and people seem into it. Post Malone got his own special Oreo that he put out, salted caramel and then shortbread cookie flavored cream. It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know we were doing celebrity Oreos. I know celebrities put their names on a lot of stuff, but Post Malone brought the heat on this. I'm proud of him.
Okay, Post Malone Oreos, and you give it a what on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it a 9 out of 10. I thought very good, strong flavors. I come to specialty flavored stuff. I want to be hit over the head with it, and I thought they did a good job of doing just that.
Okay, I'll try that. I'm ordering my Girl Scout cookies right now, so we'll hang tight on the Post Malone Oreos for now, but we'll try it. Okay, let me get into this. College football discussion going on this week, actually, New Orleans. You were just down there for the Super Bowl, but now the Big Ten's down there, the SEC's down there. They're getting together talking about a lot of stuff and say people say, well, they're going to discuss all sorts of stuff. One thing that came out today, Greg Sankey, commissioner of the SEC, did say, well, we discussed the 12-team playoff, and yeah, there's some agreement. We probably want to change the seeding formula here. Do you think that's right?
I think I said that right after we went through the initial run of the playoff, and it was the one take coming off that didn't feel too overreaction-y. Like, in general, we've gone through this once, the 12-team playoff format, and there's a lot of new parts about it that I think we would do well to, see through and figure out how they all pan out. But the one thing that seemed to make sense right away was, hey, the way we seeded that didn't make any sense. It made a team like Oregon, I think, really not benefit from the 1 seed in the way that they should have, which I think is especially at the root of all this. So I think it's the right thing to do. I don't think it'll happen because while we can talk about the Big Ten and the SEC are about to be mom and dad going forward starting in 2026, you still got to get a unanimous vote from everyone to change this by next year, and I don't see any reason why the ACC and the Big 12 should agree to something like this.
Okay, very interesting point. So they might say, yeah, I don't think so. Now, the next big thing, there's reporting, college football reporters are reporting this, that the big plan, 2026 after, go to 14 teams, and then the Big Ten and SEC actually want automatic bids. Not 1, but 4 each. Do you believe that?
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't we believe that at this point? The entire story of modern college football, and really the sport in general, is some is great, more is better. And for the SEC and the Big Ten, who have shown us in a number of ways already, both financially with how much more money they recoup from the college football playoff than their Power 4 counterparts, they think they're better than you. Forget that. They know they're better than you. And so they're going to go out there and continue to flex that might on everybody. And especially after this year, when the SEC went through the whole histrionics of the Alabama and the Ole Miss, will they, won't they get into the 12-team playoff field, and then saw them not get in, you knew good and damn well they weren't going to take that lying down. So I absolutely believe that's what they want, and I absolutely believe that's what they'll get, because everyone else gave them the power to do what they want because they're so afraid that they'd leave and go do something else.
Okay, so if the SEC and Big Ten get 4 automatic bids, that seems nuts to me. That doesn't seem like the committee's going to choose the next 6 teams. That's going to be kind of easy. So do they deserve 4 teams each? I know there's some great programs, but do we know every year if 4 in each conference deserves in?
So they're going to point to numbers going back for the first decade of the college football playoff, so since 2014. This has been right along the average for teams from the SEC and the Big Ten ranked inside the top 14 of the final CFP polls. Like, they're going to point back and say, hey, listen, historically, we've had 4 teams that have been in the mix for this anyway, so we're not really doing anything. We're just codifying what's basically already been the trend. And deserve, no, I mean, none of this is about deserve. The way we've structured this whole thing isn't about deserve. It's about what you've got the backing to go get. It's the basis for conference realignment, for all these new TV deals, is what you can go out and get. Like, at this point in time, does Florida State after last year deserve more money than the rest of the ACC? No, but they're historically a great brand, and so they've been able to go out and leverage that out of the rest of the conference as they kind of reorganize the TV deal they extended with ESPN. So, listen, the SEC and the Big Ten are the best conferences in college football right now. I don't think there's any debating that, especially after expansion with the teams that they've added. But to just say, yeah, you get 4 automatically, certainly seems like a group of people that are scared that they might not deserve it coming up. Like, if the SEC and the Big Ten were so confident in what they had in their conference, they wouldn't have to do this, because 4 of their teams would show up every year in the top 14 without fail if they were that much better than everybody. But the worry after last year is, well, hey, there's some doubt now, so we better go out and make good and damn sure our money is protected and we get our 4 teams in there every time, no matter what.
Mike Golic Jr. is on tonight on the Pizza Ranch Hotline. Gojo and Golic is the show. He's here on the Nate Brown Show tonight. College football discussions going on with the Big Ten and SEC. So will fans get fired up about it enough to worry any of the college football leaders?
No, unless, all of a sudden, college football fans, don't get me wrong, pretty wild bunch, but, we got nothing on the folks that do, European soccer fandom overseas. And you remember, like, during the pandemic, they tried to introduce that whole idea of a super league over there, and local fans basically threatened to burn down the stadiums around these people, and they all ran scared the other way. Like, you've really got to strike a fear into them that I don't think the American football fan is capable of doing. So, no, I think we'll sit here and take it in any form, and I think the fans of the big conferences will drown out the fans of the smaller conferences, and it might eventually be corrosive to the sport. I do think abandoning all of the regionality that's made college football great is going to come back to haunt us at some point, but not anytime soon enough to actually put the fear of God into the people making these decisions.
Okay, you're not an NFL draft analyst, but I want your take on the college football guys. Drafts coming up, combines coming up soon. Shedeur Sanders, I just had draft analysts on. He said Shedeur Sanders is QB1. He's the one NFL QB in this draft he believes strongly. What do you think of Shedeur Sanders being an NFL QB?
I mean, I disagree that he's the only one. I think Cam Ward's fully capable of being an NFL quarterback, and I'm starting to study these guys now with that critical eye. To your point, watch them in college football, but watching them for who's going to do the best job winning Saturday and who's going to do the best job playing on Sunday, two very different ways to eval the tape. And I think for Shedeur, he's always jumped off. I got to call a few of his games in the last couple of seasons, and he always struck me as a lesser-able Joe Burrow. Like, a lot of the same stuff is there, like capable of making a lot of throws, but not a super strong arm. Good enough athlete to move around and buy time. And Shedeur, quite honestly, not even as good an athlete as Joe Burrow is overall. Like, from the neck up, I think he does a really good job of getting through progressions. He had to make chicken salad on a chicken you-know-what a couple of years ago behind an offensive line that couldn't do anything to protect him. And I thought he displayed a tremendous amount of toughness during that season, going out there and still competing and trying to will that team to victory behind a group that wasn't capable. So I do think he, in the right circumstance, like a lot of other quarterbacks, is capable of going out and producing at the next level, but he's not one of those quarterbacks that's going to be situation agnostic. There are very few, if any, that are. There's maybe 3, 4, 5 tops that are situation agnostic, and so for Shedeur Sanders, it's going to be who's comfortable in the top 5 taking him. Like, I don't think him or Cam Ward, if we're basing this solely off ability, are take them 1 and 2 in the draft caliber players. I think they're first rounders, but top 5 picks, that's going to be a difficult eval. And I think for that reason, we're not going to see as many trades and as much movement at the top of the draft, because I don't think giving up capital for these guys to move up to get them is going to be the right move for any franchise.
Speaking of the combine coming up, Mike, Travis Hunter had to choose defense or offense, and he goes defense. So do you see Travis Hunter as a better DB or wide receiver in the league?
Ooh, man, it's interesting. I think he'd probably be a better defensive back just because his skill set for that position is so rare. Like, he's such a unique athlete at that spot, and we've seen some of the movement stuff from him. It's just unbelievable, but hard to argue the money seems to be at receiver right now, and that guy looked damn good in a Colorado uniform catching all those passes for Shedeur Sanders. Like, it wasn't like he was some gimmick receiver. He led them in basically every category last year. So I'm curious about the CB designation as well, because it certainly seems across the board, whether it's, the franchise tag number where wide receiver's the 3rd highest in the NFL behind only quarterback and pass rusher, why you wouldn't give that a shot here, unless maybe that's the side of the ball his heart's at right now, and you figure, hey, it's easier to moonlight as a wide receiver than it is to play wide receiver full-time and moonlight as a cornerback.
Yeah, I found it interesting. I just wondered, is he big enough, Mike? I mean, football, he's a small guy for a DB.
He is, but, I mean, God, the toughness and I think the capacity he's got both from the neck up but also conditioning-wise offset that a little bit. And listen, now football will be his full-time job. He's probably going to be able to stack some weight there. I think he's got a decent frame. So I don't worry too much about it, especially, listen, coming up and fitting in runs is an admirable portion of defensive back play, but it's not the priority. The priority is to be able to go out and stick opposing wide receivers, and I think he can do that all right.
Mike Golic Jr. tonight. The show is Gojo and Golic with his dad. Great stuff. Find him on Twitter at Mike Golic Jr. Always appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Mike Golick Jr. tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on the Nate Brown Show. Great guest. Interesting breakdown there. Yeah, so Travis Hunter at Colorado, the Heisman Trophy winner, they made him choose for the testing at the combine. Are you going to be a wide receiver? Are you going to be a defensive back? You can't do both. So I'm like, okay. So he chose defensive back initially here. Chose DB. How do I see Travis Hunter as a better wide receiver? Put him in the slot, pretty explosive. I see him as a wide receiver in the NFL, but maybe they see him as a DB. Because I look at him, it's like, is he Patrick Surtain? Well, no. Surtain's a big, strong guy. Big, strong guy. Travis Hunter's tougher than heck, but I see him as a wide receiver. But the combine coming up, he's going to be testing as a defensive back. All right, Brian Hinchin's on next. Former Argus leader, sports writer. Does he really think Indiana should adopt what South Dakota has done in high school sports? He does. He's on a quest. Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Anderson, we ask, why should we only feel the love on Valentine's Day in February? We have declared the entire month of February as the month of love. That's right, we did it. We laugh at February's snow and cold. We love installing the best new windows and doors. We love how warm, cozy, quiet, and more valuable our awesome windows and doors make our customers' homes. Love, love, love. Tell someone you love them today, and please book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Feel the love every day in February with Renewal by Anderson.
When you need us, nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Talking car stuff with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail. We've talked about remote starts and how they can make your winter life better. But I know that's not the only thing you guys can offer to help brave the cold.
For sure. Remote starts are one of the things that top that list, and we can install an Arctic Start remote start system from just $299.
Nothing better than getting into a warm running car to keep you toasty, right?
Exactly. We also have year-round winter tires by Toyo with a 60,000-mile tread warranty that we absolutely love. They are perfect for where we live, and now save $40 on a set of 4. Plus, save 10% on our Duralast Pro Power Ultra batteries, the only battery with roadside assistance and a 5-year warranty.
Sounds like Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail is the place to winterize your rig.
Stop in or give us a call, and we'll go over all the remote start, tire, and battery options available, and we'll do it with the best prices in the area.
Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail, folks. See anytime.com. We're at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
This is the Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to the Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Stream us on X at Nate Brown Show. Right now, we're live. Welcome in studio on X. Watch the show live. Follow us on the app at Nate Brown Show. If you miss parts of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. So we got every show, every guest right there. Search the Nate Brown Show, and you've got the podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast, we're there. Mike Golick Jr. moments ago. We have Thor Nystrom tonight breaking down the draft. Mike McFeely on from North Dakota. And now a former Argus Leader sports writer making his debut in South Dakota. This guy used to be in Sioux Falls. We got to put him on Sioux Falls radio. Give me a break. He's back. Brian Henson covers high school sports for the Indy Star. Brian, welcome on. How are you?
I'm good. What people don't know is that I was actually working in the shadows to help get you guys on Sioux Falls Radio, holding up satellite dishes and stuff. So
thank you
nice
for that.
To see my hard work come to fruition.
Thank you for that. I just want to make your debut strong back in Sioux Falls, your former stomping ground. So here we go. This is interesting. You look like you're on a quest, and you said, I don't mind ticking off people here. I'm going to throw this out. You're covering Indiana high school sports, so it's huge basketball state. So you're covering high school basketball in Indiana, and you put it out there. You said, we have to have a shot clock. Did you tell everybody, South Dakota, come on, we have the shot clock. We're ahead of times here. And you're getting pushback on this. No shot clock in Indiana high school basketball.
Oh, it is the absolute worst, man. I tell you what, I hate it. And it's not even that they're stall ball, because I cover girls basketball here, and the girls play at a fast tempo, especially with the schools around the Indy area. But they're so talented that they can pass it around the arc and just play keep away for a minute on end, just trying to find cracks in the defense. So it's not stall ball. It's just passing around. And in my opinion, teams should have an opportunity, when you're playing defense, you should have an opportunity to be rewarded for playing good defense for 30, 35 seconds, whatever it is, rather than just getting worn down, running to the ground either wearing down to the point that you give up an easy shot or, give up some soft foul or whatever. I think you should have an opportunity to get a turnover, because good defense doesn't always result in a missed shot or a steal. Sometimes it is. If you should have that opportunity, like I said, to have the shot clock violation. But our traditionalists out here, Nate, for better and worse, there's that, and then there's also they stick with the random draw for the state tournament, so nobody's seeded. So you can get the two best teams playing on a Tuesday night at the beginning of February, and suddenly their season's over.
Wow.
It's wild, man. It's wild. And the shot clock thing, I think what really ticked people off was the line at the end where I apologized to the old-timers and told them that they can go back to their peach baskets and watermelons.
Yeah, I saw that. You're kind of firing people up. I do want to say, though, what is the deal? I mean, Indiana's a great basketball state. Is there anybody that's going to finally get this across the finish line? Why wouldn't you want a shot clock? I just don't understand it. The game is better. The kids are talented. Mm-hmm. The coaches, I would think, want this. Do they not?
A lot of them do. And two, you have to remember, kids play with the shot clock in AAU, and that's one of the big excuses that people have out here as well. It's gonna water down the product, and suddenly you're gonna have kids just forcing up shots at the end of the shot clock to beat the buzzer, which is a bunch of baloney. And there are legitimate reasons against it, one of which is they have trouble out here finding people to operate the scoreboards and the clocks and whatnot as it is. And then two, they have enough to worry about, and so they have trouble. You don't want to add a shot clock on top of that and just add another potential complication or wrinkle to it. Now, obviously, the counter to that, and the one that I always go back to as well, I lived in South Dakota, and they made it work. And South Dakota has a lot more rural towns and a lot smaller communities than what Indiana has. And they've made it work. And they've made it work at the Class B level, at the smallest level, at the smallest schools. So it can be done. It's just there has to be a desire to do it. And the one thing that I've realized out here is that Indiana is glacially slow to change. And it's probably not going to happen for a while, probably not while I'm here, but it's really fun to piss people off and complain about them on Twitter. It's like the bees in Aberdeen, man, I tell you.
I know, I understand. I feel your pain. Brian Henson's on tonight, high school sports writer for the Indy Star, IndyStar.com, former Argus leader writer in Sioux Falls. He's on Twitter at Brian_Henson, talking about Indiana, no shot clock. I've heard no complaints in South Dakota since we've had the shot clock, and you were here. Like, I didn't hear anybody like, oh, this is bad. I mean, once you do it, you put the schools have to get the shot clock, so there's an expense, and then you got to get a shot clock operator. So those are like the only two arguments. Once you do it, nobody's like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, no. And like I said, like the kids are used to it. The coaches out here, like they're competent enough. They'll do a good job. They'll coach the kids up on it. Like, it makes the product so much better. It really does. And it takes away the opportunity to stall ball. I mean, even at the end of games, like if you're up 5 points late in the game, a critical game, like why wouldn't you just hold the ball? I get it. And then the other argument is, well, the defense, that's on the defense. They should get up and pressure. Well, then again, like kids are good enough now that they can play keep away, just passing the ball around no matter how good you are defensively. They're just that sharp. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like I said, they're very set in their ways because they're God's gift to basketball out here, which is great, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. But the traditionalist side of things with things like the shot clock, like seeding the tournament, the determination to just continue on with the system that really punishes teams based on geography is just, it's infuriating. But it's still not as bad, I will say, as playing the Class B boys every year in Aberdeen.
Okay.
That is reprehensible.
Okay, hang on now. I want to stay on track. By the way, Indiana, what they are doing, here's something they are doing in high school sports. Now, you tell me how serious people are taking it. They got some girls' high school flag football. So this is a campaign that's been going on across the country. There's more states adding this. The Super Bowl had a big commercial on it. Girls' high school flag football. Do you see this growing more? Is it, what's that like there?
Honestly, I haven't heard a ton of buzz about it. I know that some schools have programs. Okay. I know that a number of schools have programs, but I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, it's the same thing as some of the different sports issues that you and I have talked about over the years when I was in South Dakota more dialed in. I mean, just any opportunity you can give to kids to play sports, I'm all for it. And especially with the thing like flag football, like that's such a perfect alternative, for girls to have football too. And the one complication, I suppose, would be there's a lot of fall sports already with like volleyball out here, cross country, et cetera. But I'm sure you can make it work, and soccer as well out here. But I'm sure you can make it work. I'm curious though where the interest level takes off here, because certainly at the national level, it's a big deal.
So the club, it's just a club sport. I'm not talking about sanctioning or anything like that. Some states are, but I'm thinking as a club level. My daughter said, she's a high schooler, she goes, man, I would have played this. Like she said, I would have played football. They love football. So we'll see where that goes. Montana's got 30 teams now signed up. They started at 5. Wow. They got 30 teams now in Montana. So I know some of these states are doing it. Brian Hentgen's on tonight. Last one, I don't know. This is going on in Sioux Falls. The Sioux Falls School District does not accept cash to get into high school games now. Did you hear about this? Okay. No cash. The South Dakota legislature yesterday passed a bill in the Senate to force cash acceptance. So the real question is, does Brian Hentgen bring cash? Be careful. I don't want you to get jumped by anybody.
No, I haven't carried cash in years.
Okay.
And I think I love, though, that they have enough, that there's so little going on in South Dakota that the legislature has time to concern themselves with such a frivolous thing.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to keep you posted on that. So if you come back to Sioux Falls,
I think the last time you had me on, we actually talked about that because the Sioux Falls School District has just done that. I mean,
yeah. Now they're getting pushback.
It is, in all seriousness, it's amazing that it reached that level that the legislature felt the need to intervene. And I understand people's frustrations, but at the same time, well, I don't know. I guess there's probably an added expense with running the credit cards versus the cash. I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. I've said this. The school board decided for some reason to do that. They think it's going to streamline things, and so they decided it. And the legislature is saying, no, you can't do that. That's the argument people are having. Should the legislature tell Sioux Falls what to do?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's fascinating. They aren't doing this in Rapid City, right? Like Rapid City still...
Yes, no, we accept cash, but people have thrown around. There's rumors, and you know how rumors go, that they were going to do cashless as well, but as long as I bring my $5, Nate Brown, they're letting me in, let me tell you. And they better let me in if I show them a $5 bill. By the way, I do got to say, the same people that don't want a shot clock in Indiana, they also want cash as tender. Be careful.
I think they might be one big conglomerate, Nate, out to ruin our lives.
No, we're fine. Brian Henson, fun one tonight. Keep the fight up. Tell him South Dakota's got it straight. Shot clock forever. Shot clock forever. Brian, good to have you, man. I appreciate the time.
Good catching up, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot. Brian Henson tonight, preps writer from Indy Star, former Argus leader Sioux Falls. Brian Henson on tonight. Good to have him back. Yeah, Brian kind of let loose. There. Take it easy. Who's hot and who's not? We always wrap up the show with that next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Are you tired of your dog shredding your lawn or tracking in with muddy paws? Canine Grass by Forever Lawn is the high-performance artificial grass made specifically for dogs. Only the Canine Grass system has knitted backing for edge-to-edge drainage, antimicrobial blades, and no infill. Don't trap the waste and odors using any other turf. Call 605-831-9026 or Google Forever Lawn in South Dakota. With dealerships on both sides of the state, we're ready to help you clean up after your dogs. Forever Lawn in South Dakota.
Look at all the pictures of the resort you'd stay in every year. All you need to do is pay reasonable maintenance fees once a year. With any contract that you're signing, read and understand everything. What happens if you cancel? Can you get out of this contract? If you feel pushed into signing the contract, you need to stop and take a step back. If you have questions, contact the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Building projects can be complex. The risks are great and time is money. Consolidated Construction of Rapid City simplifies the process by being your advocate, guiding you through funding, design, and construction. They manage the players and the schedule and marry the design to your budget so you get the most for your investment. They promise an energizing experience before, during, and after construction. It's not enough that you get a quality building. They pledge you'll experience quality every step of the way. Consolidated Construction. OneCallToBuild.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 9 below. Tonight, under mainly clear skies. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 22. Mainly clear tomorrow night. Lows around 8 above. Turning much warmer Friday and Saturday with highs from the low 40s to the upper 40s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 6 below.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Do you have a financial game plan for your life? Hi, this is Lee Cruz, your local trusted New York Life agent here in Rapid City. My passion is helping you put the pieces in place for your family to make sure your game plan is a success. For over 175 years, New York Life has been helping people like yourself take action in securing their future. Don't wait, take action and Google Lee Cruz New York Life or call 605-360-8804. We will work together on putting your family first.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at BHOSC.com.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown.
All right, let's do this tonight on a Wednesday, The Nate Brown Show. Who's hot and who's not? Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Who's hot and who's not? Tonight, in my Who's Hot, an update on that youth sports complex. I told you last week or a couple of weeks ago, maybe a new youth sports complex in Florida. It was $1 billion, the price tag. The commission down there in Florida, the city commission, passed it to change the plan for commercial zoning. So they're going to do this. They approved the plan, a 150-acre youth sports complex. Unbelievable. Down in Florida, it's going to be $1 billion, the price tag. Hotels, a Riverwalk, a facility, 17 fields. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not tonight, the Los Angeles Chargers have been selected to play in the Friday night Week 1 international game in Brazil. Stop with these. I don't like them. We don't need them. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Quote, question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in South Dakota,